Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell from the title of today's video, I came up with my own book tag. I have been trying to come up with one for a very long time, but there wasn't anything that I felt super passionate about that I also felt like a lot of other people would feel passionate about. But if there's one thing that BookTube and the BookTube community and Instagram and the Bookstagram community likes to talk about, it is tropes. So as you guys can tell from the title of the video, I did come up with the tropes book tag. So the questions, I'm going to leave them down below, but I'm going to kind of go over them as I go over them, just give you guys a little bit more depth. But if you're watching this video, consider yourself tagged. I'm going to tag a few more people in the comments as well that I specifically want to do this. But please, if you do this, please tag me on Twitter so that I can watch it and interact with you guys, as well as I feel like this is a good way for me to meet other booktubers as well, because I feel like there is a lot of new booktubers coming on the scene that I haven't been able to interact with. So if you're one of them and you're doing this tag, please let me know on Twitter or comment on this video that you did it so I can go and watch yours. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started and go over with you guys all of the questions that I have for my very own book tag. So the first one I have here is hopelessly devoted, or the characters who you think one of them isn't really in the relationship, but the other one is hopelessly devoted and really wants to be with the other character. And for this question, what I want is for you guys to find two characters from separate books that you think would be good together. And for that, I have a pairing that I actually discovered when I did my, I can't remember what the tag is called, but it's where you just mash up two characters randomly. And I have two very good ones here. I have Orna from A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe, and I have Lila Bard from Shades of Magic. Now, the reason why I think these guys would be really good together, Lila is one of those characters who just does what she wants to do. There's oftentimes in this book where she's like, they're told, hey, don't do this, and Lila's like, I'm gonna do the thing, and you're like, Lila, stop doing the thing, and she's like, nah, I'm gonna do the thing. And that's definitely Orna as well. I feel like these guys would be really good together because, as well, I feel like they would elevate each other, and I feel like they would help with each other's goals, but I feel like this would be one of those matchups that would only work given enough time to make sure that they don't actually kill each other, because it tends to be people in general, or characters that are very similar to each other, tend to not like each other, and I feel like that would be something that these two would kind of deal with at the very beginning of their relationship. But I feel like overall these two would be a really great pairing. So the next one I have here, number 2, is Damsel in Distress. Name a female main character who didn't need a man to complete her or get things done. And for me, that would be Kate Harker from This Savage Song. I feel like Kate was such a great standalone character, and there's oftentimes in the book where I feel like any other author may have made her kind of lean on other characters in a way that she doesn't really need their help, but she's going to use it anyway. Kate was definitely self-sufficient, and I loved her for that. I think that she's a great main character. She's one of the few female main characters actually in a book that I really, really loved, and I think that she was just done so well. She's one of those characters that if you are a young girl or even a woman and you want to kind of look up to a character for being strong and independent, she's the one that I would go for. So the next one I have here is Love at First Sight, Name Your OTP. Now for me, my OTP has changed quite a bit over the years, but there's one that always sticks with me so much, and it'd be Kara and Vincent from Sleeping Giants. I love them together. I think that they are done so well because they have to build their relationship, and I think that because it does have to build, and because they do have to kind of establish trust and they do work together, it's just done so well, and I love them because they are very different as well, and it adds a lot of depth to their relationship. There's a lot of character building that kind of happens in this book because of that. If you guys are not familiar with Sleeping Giants, it's actually done in an interview kind of form, and because of that, I feel like it could have been a struggle to establish characters, but because of the relationships that all of the characters have, whether it be friendship, professional relationship, romantic relationship, I think that that's what really builds the characters in this book. You're able to kind of establish who they are from the relationships and how they interact with each other, and I loved this book, and I absolutely adore Kara and Vincent together. So we're going to talk about one of my least favorite tropes, and then be mental illness as a quirk, or a main character that's aloof or strange, and they kind of just use their mental illness to make them seem like trendy or cool. I hate this trope, can you tell? So what this one is, a book that handled mental illness well and didn't butcher it. For that, you guys have heard me speak about this book before on my channel. I'm going to keep speaking about it. I will also list the review for it that I did up in the cards, but it would be Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. As somebody who suffers from OCD, from severe OCD, I identified with the main character from this book so well, and because it is own voices, because John also does have OCD, I think that he did a phenomenal job covering what it's truly like. And some of the reviews that I read for this book, especially the negative ones, spoke about how hard this book was to read. because of the OCD, because they didn't enjoy reading about that. And that is what I loved about this book. This book really covers everything, and it's done so well, and it's done so tactfully as well because of John Green and because it is something that he suffers from. And I just adore this book, and I think it did it so well. And there are far and few between books that I can think of that really handle mental illness in a way that is done in like a good way and like a good representation, and isn't thrown in there as a quirk to kind of make the main character seem a little bit weird. Like, I don't like that, and I just love this book so much for this. Now the next one we're going to talk about, question number 5, is The Chosen One, a main character that almost or did ruin a series for you. This shouldn't come as a shock to anyone, but that'd be Lila Bard from Shades of Magic. I hate Lila Bard. I'm one of those few people who just did not like her as a main character at all. I found her character very annoying throughout the entire series. Also, I just didn't feel like there was any character growth for her. Oftentimes when I was reading about Lila from Lila's perspective, I was very bored, very annoyed. I feel like there was a lot of things that she did that made the series, it kind of moved the series along, but it's something that didn't need to happen, and it was just Lila thinking impulsively and doing something as opposed to listening to other people and them doing like the better option. There's a lot of times in this book where Kel is like, this is very dangerous, you should not be doing this, this is something that I can handle, you're gonna make things worse, and Lila was just like, I'm gonna do it anyway. So that is a main character that almost ruined a series for me. I do still really like this series, but all of these books would have been 5-star reads for me if not for Lila. The next one, number 6, is Friends to Lovers. Name a duo that went from friendship goals to relationship goals, and I'm gonna go with Rosemary and Sissix from A Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I adored this duo. Sissix is a sort of reptilian alien that lives on the ship that Rosemary actually goes to, and they sort of form this bond, and then they sort of form this relationship because Rosemary is obviously human. Sissix, her like culture is a little bit more open in terms of sexuality and touching, and they do have open relationships, and they have multiple partners because they do live for a very long time. But I love their relationship. It's very adult, it's very grown up, it's very realistic. When Rosemary goes into it, Sissix, kind of tells her like, this is how my culture is, and they kind of have like that adult conversation, and I just love them together. I want a book just about them. That's how much I love them. And if you guys haven't read this book, you really should. It is phenomenal. Now, number 7 is Amnesia, a book that you wish you could unread, whether that's to get the book out of your head or to be able to read it again and experience it again. So you can go kind of both ways with this one. For this book, I'm going to go with the book that I wish I could unread, and that would be Winter Song by S.J. Jones. I hated this book. If you've been following me for very long on my channel, you will know that I thought this book was trying to be haunting and beautiful, but just fell completely flat. I found myself so confused for most of the book. I feel like the only bit of it that I really liked was the last like 50 pages or so. I feel like I had to trudge through the rest of it so much, and I was having an amazing reading month where I was reading like 1 or 2 books a day, or a book every 2 days, not 1 or 2 books a day, a book every 2 days, and this book took me an entire week to finish. I just hated this book, and if I could get it out of my head, I absolutely would. It's supposed to be a Goblin King retelling, and I think it was absolutely horrible. It was just done very badly, and there's no books that I can think of that I really hate, but this is definitely one of them because The Goblin King is one of my very favorite stories, and I feel like it was just completely butchered. Alright, question number 8 is Bad Boys. Name your favorite villain. This isn't going to come as a shock. I've talked about this book so much on my channel recently, but it'd be Leland Gaunt from Needful Things. Leland is a store owner in this small town, and people are able to come and see him and kind of pick up hard to find items, but he magically is able to have all of the items that people are looking for. And the only payment that Leland really wants you to do is to kind of play tricks on other people, but that does eventually escalate into severe violence. This is a giant book, but oh my god, if you're looking for a very Slytherin book, if you are also a fellow Slytherin, this is the book for you because Leland does things, and he kind of has a reason why you sort of find out later, but at the beginning of the book, it just seems like he's doing these things out of sheer pleasure and out of experimentation and kind of seeing how people tick. And I love villains like that, and he is my #1 villain that I can ever think of. For me, he always gives me chills without being necessarily creepy. So if you haven't read this book, I would really recommend it, especially if you're looking for a good Stephen King book to read in October. Alright, at number 9, one of my other least favorite tropes that I can think of is Missing Parents, which is name a book that problems that arose in the book could have been solved simply by parental advisory, and that'd be Orange. Orange is a manga that I recently read that I did end up giving 5 stars. I do absolutely love it, but there's a lot of things that happened in this book, or one big main thing that I can think of that could have been solved had somebody gone to an adult and said, hey, this thing is happening, how do we stop it? Now, while adults are present in this book, they are present in the world. This is something that unlike like Harry Potter, where adults are kind of there, or unlike stories where the main character is a young adult and the adults are just completely gone, there are adults present in the story, but they do not interact in that kind of way with the kids. But what this book actually follows is our main character receives a letter from herself on her last year of high school, the first day of her last year of high school, and it is to save a young boy that she goes to school with, and it is from herself 10 years in the future. And in the future, they were not able to save him. And the reason why I feel like this book problems could have been solved is the main character kills himself. That is what the story follows. And I feel like if they'd have gone to an adult and been like, he is suicidal, something is wrong, because you kind of pick up on it in the book, like you could have very easily been like, I'm worried about him. And I feel like if they'd have gone to an adult, whether it be administrative, whether it be a parent, their parents, his grandmother, whoever it may be, if they would have done that, I feel like the problems in this book would have been solved. He could have gotten help. He could have talked to somebody, because he was oftentimes in his head, and a lot of this book is about the other characters trying to talk to him and help him, and like, you're not a doctor, help him, like actually help him. Like that was the big problem that I had with the second one. I feel like they should have gone to somebody, and they did not, and that really bugged me. So this is a book that I can think of, had there been parental advisory, it would have ended up a lot different. Alright, and number 10 is girl gang or boy gang, and that is to tag some people. I'm going to tag people down in the down bar of this video, but I am so excited to finally have my own tag out there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, if you do it, please tag me either on Twitter or leave a comment on this video that you did do it. But I hope you guys are having a good week. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!